Guys, hey guys, how you doing? Thanks for returning. This is Lewis. I'm being interviewed by Life of a Felon. My channel is The Penitent. So we're here on a Saturday at the Embassy Suites in Corpus Christi, Texas, trying to crank out another video for you guys. We have a good one here for you guys, man. We have one here where Lewis made Fifth Circuit law, essentially. So the beginning of this story was, I was at the Wallace unit in the year 2000. Never been to the law library. So at that time, my brother had already been down to state 2 times. He did 10 years total in state. So he picks up a charge. Well, it was a throwdown gun, let me put it that way. He's innocent, really, of that crime. He did 20 years in federal for a crime he didn't even commit. So anyhow, the officer had a throwdown gun, meaning they came out with the gun and said it was my brother's, and he was on parole. So who are they gonna believe? You know, they're gonna believe an officer or an ex-felon. So this was in '99 or 2000. So he ended up going to one of the Garza units where they don't have a law library. So I'm at a unit where they do have law library. Matter of fact, that's mandated by law. We have to have a law library. That's called access of courts. You know, that's a right and a law that we have. We have to have, and them law libraries, they're huge. They have so many volumes of books, of cases of all sorts, criminal and civil. So he tells me, hey man, I got this case, man, that could probably help me with this case. It's called Lopez versus USA. It has to do with interstate compact, whether they can get you for a felon in possession, if they can prove if the gun was carried through interstate commerce. But anyhow, I'm not going to get into the intricacies of that law. It's very complex also, by the way, as all laws are. So anyways, I'm at the law library. He told me, hey, go to the law library and look up this case, write it down for me. And that case is about 100 pages. And that's a lot of writing by hand. You know, I'm talking about, you can get carpal tunnel, man. So I said, all right, man, I'll help you out. And I didn't know at the time, I mean, I know the law now. I know how to brief a case. You know, you just get the facts and the law and you brief it. You know, you don't got to write the whole thing. You brief it. That's why it's called a brief. You could make it into like 3 pages like this. So had I known, I would have done that. And this probably would have never happened. But anyhow, I was green when it came to the law. So I'm at the law library, man. It's cold in there, man, very cold. And at that time, I remember, this is an important factual background, because I used to like to drink coffee back then, coffee and water all day long. So that doesn't mix with my bladder, man, you know. So, you know, within maybe an hour, I'm in the law library and it's cold and I'm having to use the restroom. So it's count time. And count time, man, for them guys who know Texas, man, count time can take hours, man. Sometimes they even have to rack up the whole unit and lock everybody down to make sure they get that count right. But this count lasted about 2 hours, man. And that's not abnormal for a count time. Anyhow, that's normal. A good count time can clear within about 45 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. So, man, I'm asking the officer, man, I need to go to the restroom, man. I need to go, man. I'm starting to have pain right here in my bladder, man, you know. He'd let me go. He keeps telling me, man, it's count time. You can't go nowhere. You can't, no movement. That's the thing. You can't move anywhere. So finally, after about an hour, man, he said, man, all right, man, go ahead. Because it's just right down the hall. It's like, you know, I'm not going to escape, you know. So I go, man, and lo and behold, the restroom is locked. I said, God. The restroom was locked, man. I said, God. Well, it had to be, now I understand, it had to be locked because it's count time. Everything's locked up. So, man, I had to relieve myself, man. I'll go into a little corner respectfully, you know what I mean? I try to do it discreetly. I had to relieve myself, which I did. So I don't know how they found out. They found out and they seen all that piss and they took me, they were pissed off, you know? They rushed me to a ADSEG. There's one of them multi-purpose rooms. So when I'm there, man, they already had they had pissed on some newspapers, a lot of newspapers, man. And they just threw me down. They started whooping my ass, smearing me all over that piss. And back in my mind, I'm thinking, man, I don't want to get killed, you know. Because back in them, well, yeah, during that time, early 90s, well, this was already late 90s. 90s were already going to be finished. But when I left the county, Nueces County, man, it's common knowledge that the Nueces County, they almost went bankrupt or something like that. They didn't have any more funds to defend these lawsuits for wrongful deaths. There was quite a few in Nueces County, man. Officers getting fired and sued. They sued the county because there was like several deaths and assaults. So that's what's running behind my mind. I said, man, I can take an ass whooping, you know, I can take a beating. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about, man, if these guys accidentally kill me, you know what I mean? Because that's how it happens, you know, they accidentally twist your neck or whatever. So anyhow, that was done. They let me go. And I tell my homeboys in the wing, I said, hey man, these motherfuckers whooped my ass, man. Excuse my language. They whooped my ass, man. They smeared me all over for some piss and stuff. And they'll say, man, you got a lawsuit, man. Why don't you write a grievance, man? You got a lawsuit, man. You got some money coming to you, man. And I'm all excited. That's like, man, shit, all right, let me do that. So I started writing a grievance, or step 1 grievance. Wrote the grievance. And within that week, or with a certain time frame, the major, all these big wigs came down, man. It was the major, the warden. They had me behind the gates at the classification. They wanted to interview me, man. They said, are you the man that was involved in all this? And I said, yes, sir. So, yeah, they fired all these officers here. There was 6 officers. There was 1 lieutenant, 3 sergeants, and 2 correctional officers, or 3 correctional officers. So they fired these guys, and see, they fired these guys. So they ended up firing these guys. One of them didn't get fired because he ended up doing what you call the a whistleblower. You know, he kept his job. He ended up being a sergeant, by the way. He was the nephew of the warden at that time, Warden Webb. So another thing I didn't mention on my other video is this Bobby Morris, the lieutenant. He wanted to bribe me, man. I could have started having him bringing me some cigarettes, man. He asked me, hey man, let me know if you need anything, man, any cigarettes or anything. He was scared. He didn't want to lose his job, man. But I declined. I respectfully declined. I said, nah, I didn't dabble in that stuff, man. I was doing a 20-year sentence, and I didn't want to do all my time. Said, man, I'm not gonna dabble in that, man.
Not at this moment.
Yeah, not at this time. Yeah. But anyhow, they fired all them guys. Michael Crowfoot, I remember reading the records when I ordered all of my records under discovery. When I filed the suit, I ended up filing suit. He resigned in lieu of resignation or something like that. In other words, he quit instead of being fired. That was a fancy term that he used. So long story short, man, I went ahead and I fought this case for, what was that, for 4 years. We went up all the way to the 5th Circuit. 5th Circuit law we have here. Can you see that? Luis Castro versus all these officers: Michael Crowfoot, Luis Solis, Glenn Owens, Christopher Gaspar, Michael Webb, Bobby Morris. He was the lieutenant. So I essentially made case law. I mean, this is not really technically good law, but it can be used as a reference that basically what this case is saying, you basically need to file a step 2 grievance. And the reason I didn't file a step 2 grievance because I was under the impression that I didn't have to. The step 1 grievance went directly, and I used the word, I kind of coined the term in the law. It traversed the step 2, meaning it didn't have to go through a step 2. It went all the way to the internal affairs up in Huntsville, by the way. It went to Huntsville. That's how serious it was. You know, the 6 officers got fired. So with that, I never fought step 2. So in all this, that's why I lost the case, because these cases are it's called stare decisis. That means whatever law, that's the law regardless. That's how come, you know, some of these cases, you may have a good case, criminal or civil, you may have a good case, but they get you on procedural grounds. You understand? That's how they beat you. So I felt that I was misled. I felt that I was misguided when they did that move. I felt I was under the impression that, hey, there was no need for a step 2. So anyhow, that's how I lost the case. But I mean, at least in the courts, you know, I won administratively by default because, you know, all them officers, like I said, they got fired. Well, except that one, Michael Webb. He ended up making sergeant, by the way, while I was still there. And they ended up transferring me to another facility down south in, Edinburgh, Texas. So yeah, guys, there you have it. Fired 6 officers, well, 5, basically. But yeah, I mean, they tell you ignorance of the law is no excuse, and they expect you to know all these 10,000s of laws that are on the books, but that's not feasible, you know. You just got to know what you're doing. So there's a couple of lessons in this video, man. First, I can tell you, man, prison could be dangerous, man. You know, I could have died that day, you know. They could have accidentally twisted my neck. I could have been dead. 2, you got to know the law. If you're gonna dabble in the law, I could have had money off of this case. I was evaluating my case at a good $1 million, or at least $500,000. You know, I would have been sitting on some good money. But anyhow, what I learned though is that that's how I ended up loving the law and going in through a paralegal school, where I learned how to read and write the law. So, you know, I'm pretty much well versed when it comes to that. If it comes down to it, I know how to research. You know, I know how to write and all that good stuff. But anyhow, guys, that pretty much covers it for this video. We want to crank this one out to you guys. This is one of the star videos right here, so check it out. Subscribe, hit the like button. Again, here Lewis with The Penitent and Justin with Life of a Felon. Thanks, guys, for watching.
Yeah, also go subscribe to Tim Snow. We also did a live interview with him. And
yeah, shout out Tim Snow.
Yeah, he's gonna be on our next video pretty soon. Shout out to Tim Snow. Go subscribe to TPS, Texas Prison Stories.